Optics trying to open up once again, and there we go. Karma and Skunk putting bodies in the kill feed to take control.
Something that Optic are so good at is trading out their kills and getting hold of hard points as a team. Their breaks is something that many a pro have highlighted. I was talking to replays earlier on this week, and he was saying that Optic, they're just so good at breaking. They don't necessarily have to try multiple times to break hardpoints. They get it on the first try, which is why they're so good at hardpoint. They make the most of the kills that they do get, and you're seeing it right here as they are completely in control and winning on points. And compLexity just not able to get in the hill and lock it down for themselves.
Skunk's kinetic armor helps him connect with one, and then he goes down to hill control, goes back over to compLexity. I want to give Swirly a little bit of attention. He's sort of watching the middle lane, trying to make sure no one from Optic comes over here and challenges. Of course, they all went outskirts to go and challenge this hill, and 20 seconds left on the clock. Now you see Parasite and company just going to opt to go for the rotation over to bunker. Optic completely destroyed them the first time around on this hill. They need to make sure it does not happen again. Parasite's weak as he slides out. He's taken out.
Good trade there, and Optic have got a major pinch on this bunker hardpoint. Looks like Crimson's actually going to flood out and stop anyone from pushing forward. Unfortunately, he meets his maker, as it looks like Scump is trying to push the fire pit. Does get that kill, I believe. It was on Llama in the end, as compLexity go a long road ahead of them to move forward. And once again, Formal has got this Purifier ready for the bunker hardpoint.
Parasite has his Tempest out as well, as he was able to pick up one. Unfortunately, Karma answers back with
Spray
Tempest
and
of his
pray.
own. There we go. The Purifier comes in. Unfortunately, the active camo sort of helps a little bit, but Optic keep control. The Hellstorm will come in to try and take out some of these players as the push comes in. Keeps Karma alive inside of the hill. The slide, the dive, the dip, the duck, and the dodge all going in his favor. And now compLexity do have control right after the break comes through, but amazing contest time from Optic Gaming so far on the bunker.
Yeah, all they have to do is just stack in this hardpoint and rock the time down. You can see that the overall timer on the actual game itself is dwindling down. They keep that going, and with this stance that they have only being 25 points away from victory, it's not really a situation they have to worry too much about. We are still, I think, Formal, in fact, the only player positive on this Optic Gaming roster, but they've just played the hill so well. compLexity have just been making almost pointless kills in the end. They haven't really made kills that have given them the advantage going into the hill. And the fact that they now have streaks available on Formal just gives them so much pressure on this last hill. They can just throw lightning strikes into the middle of it and get control of this next hard point.
And Optic's trading where it counts, right? Inside of the hill. In every single hill so far, they've been able to trade effectively and keep control of the hill. And even when they don't have control, they're getting in and contesting over and over again. Now Fulman's going to challenge with an AR. He goes down. So once again, we're seeing impressive holds from compLexity, but the time really not adding up when some of these kills that they're able to pick up.
Optic Gaming still rocking that time down. You can just see they're not even that interested in making time for themselves. Just contesting is all they need to do at this point. We're coming to the mansion hardpoint. Karma's wrapped all the way around to the garage, jumping into the top kitchen and locking down this wall run, making sure no one flanks around as Optic set themselves up for a contestment in the living room. As Karma's jumping back out into the car park, gets one kill on Parasite, can't follow up the second. Formal answers back. Crimsix gets a trade. Swally's in the top. He gets a second kill as well. This is time for compLexity to push forward as the time is running out and they're losing ground here with only 5 seconds left. Optic are still in control. They make kills. Can Scump make this final kill behind the SETI? No, he doesn't. Do Havoc gets the kills and they start to make control, but here come Optic again. Karma
in a huge engagement here ends up winning it. Control of the hill goes back towards them, but then the kinetic armor comes out of Havoc, cannot stay alive, and just like that, 250 to 199, Optic Gaming take game number 1.
And you have to say, just well played from Optic. I mean, traditionally when I watch them on hardpoints, they're so comfortable at just outslaying their opponents. You don't have to necessarily focus on the fundamentals of hardpoint, your rotations, your spawns. But that's exactly what they needed to do in a game like this. That's all they needed to do. It's just focus on playing the hardpoint rather than the team. And compLexity, I think they get into their heads that Optic are this amazing slaying team, that they're like, we've got to compete with them on a slaying level. If we don't do that, we don't stand a chance. And in this situation, yeah, they did a really good job at slaying against them. but at the end of the day, they neglected the hard point.
You need to take those engagements that you're winning and convert them into points at the end of the day. Is something that we always say, and unfortunately for complexity, they come out on the losing side of game number 1. Now we turn our attention over to Search and Destroy for game number 2, and if you're complexity going into this one, you have players that are really good at Search and Destroy, right? The teamwork and everything seems to be there. They're trading effectively, and some of the gunfights we know are going their way. They can walk away with game number 2.
Absolutely, it can do, but as you're going to see on your screen, 250 to 199 was the result of that stronghold hard point going into the second map. Redwood Search and Destroy is really where we're going to separate the men from the boys and see if this complexity lineup can hang with Optic. Can definitely slay with the best of them, but strategically, do they have enough to get themselves the W on some of these maps? Because in that last game, neglecting the OBJ a little bit too much.
And on the side of complexity, after losing that game number 1, do they keep things together? The entire team seems calm, cool, and collected after the game 1, just talking over a couple of things, making sure they're in the space that they want to be. You do not want to sort of get in your own head going forward, right? You still have a lot to play. This is a group that you can finish second in, right? So you need to make sure you're executing when it comes to that Search and Destroy, because one round can make the difference. One life can make the difference in this one.
Correct me if I'm wrong here, Paradox, but from what I've seen of Optic, as far as Search and Destroy goes, they're quite static in the way they set up and they play. They're quite, you know, this is where I'm going to sit, I'm going to watch this, and if it gets to a situation, we can easily trade each other out, right? It's quite straightforward in what they do.
And that's sort of what you want to do in Search and Destroy.
Sorry,
right?
complexity, they're quite aggressive, very ballistic players. They'll throw themselves forward and look to try and make plays for themselves. I feel like that plays in Optic's favor. They'll just let complexity play right into their hands and make those kills. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I'm just saying, like, if that's the playstyle that we do see in this game number 2 from both sides, if you're Optic, you're pretty comfortable with that because the trades are there and they were making those trades when it counts around the objective. If you're complexity, if one of these players is going to hit something like go full-on aggressive, they need someone to follow up to make sure that trade comes in, and even then to secure some of these kills, because we know a lot of players can pick up 2, possibly 3. We've seen 4 in a row sometimes as well, and especially on Redwood, when you have a site as powerful as B, you need to make sure all your players are in position and you have a well-executed plan going forward.
Well, you see in the ban and protect on your screen, there is a protect from Havoc for the concussion grenade. That makes things very interesting. I'm hoping that's a protect and that's not just, oh, something's gone wrong, so we're just going to make some weird. I think there'd probably be weirder things you could protect or ban in that situation.
Yeah, the concussion goes to
just to kind of alert the other team, you know, something's gone wrong. Can we restart?
So we do see overkill taken off the board as well. We know how much of a presence sniper rifles can have in Search and Destroy, and especially when you put one in the hands of Formal, right? Just time and time. First bloods over and over again. You need to make sure you don't really want to deal with that, or at least you don't want to make it too much of a problem, right? Because he can't get it done with a pistol in the back pocket.
You got to say that Havoc's going to try and contest Formal with that sniper. Amazing snipes on that guy. He can hit some ridiculous shots. Let's see if he can do the same on Redwood against Former, who is arguably one of the best snipers in the NA scene right now.
So now we get to see the specialist draft come out of both teams, get it sort of an idea of what a lot of these players want to go for. With Heatwave taken out, you think Psychosis is up for grabs. Glitch has been very popular. Kinetic Armor still in the game as well. There's going to be a lot of things these players can go for, but we tend to see sort of the same grouping of specialist abilities again. And now Karma's going to lead things off with Optic Gaming choosing the Glitch.
Yep, pretty standard Search and Destroy specialist coming out from these guys. Lots of utility, active camo, kinetic armor, glitch. Pretty sure you'll probably see a heat wave come out at some point as well. No Psychosis. And you're going to see an overdrive for complexity, the 2 variables on either side. I'm surprised not to see Optic Gaming bringing out the overdrive.
Yeah, and that sort of speaks a little bit to what you were talking about earlier before we started this complexity, sort of being very aggressive in some of their play. So now that the overdrive is picked up, and especially from Swarly, gonna have to pay attention to a flank, maybe a very aggressive V push can come in at some point as well. Completely take control of the site, zone these players out, force them to go to the middle of the map. And when you have an AR presence in the middle of the map, that can be very challenging too. Not saying that Optic can't compete with that, because of course we know they can. It just is the execution there in that round, or is compLexity able to trade away all the kills that they need?
Yeah, I do apologize. The heat wave was banned out, so obviously you won't be seeing that specialist come in. But I think maybe the overdrive wasn't picked up by compLexity. Sorry, Optic, because they like to. They play quite a trade-heavy game in Search and Destroy. If they've got someone, you know, going all out for nothing with that overdrive, they've got to make sure they get those kills to start things off. Otherwise, you've not only wasted a specialist opportunity, but you've also given up a very easy pick for the other team and potentially a round, and that round could become very important later on in the actual game itself.
Just looking at both of these teams, you know, you think of the last-minute organization change from the side of compLexity, formerly Cloud9, coming in, and two players really haven't talked too much about. Llama and Havoc have really been on some bubble teams so far in Black Ops 3, around that sort of top 8 area, just floating around. Very good talent. Parasite decides to pick them up, and he is a player, once again, that can be very polarizing, but he knows what he's talking about. He's very smart when it comes to the game. And looking at this squad, even if they lose this series, I'm still pretty confident in them going forward. They're a team you have to look out for.
Well, Llama and Havoc, they've got a lot of cohesion between the two.
Yeah.
Seeing them play together, they seem to be able to swap between each other. They work well around each other, and overall, they're just a great partnership. And I think that's one of the main reasons Parasites decided to get them together into the team. And obviously, Swally just completes a very solid roster. But let's see if they're solid enough to take down Optic Gaming in this best-of-5 series. Obviously, Optic up 1-0 after that. A very odd hardpoint, I would say. Not really the traditional way it goes when a team is outslayed. They don't usually end up with the victory, but sometimes that's the magic of hardpoint. Can walk away with the victory. Let's see if compLexity can take everything that they can into this Search and Destroy and come out fighting.
You see the beautiful map of Redwood on your screen right now. That back lab area is going to be where the defense spawns. In the middle of the map, going to be highly contested, either by snipers on the map, or when it comes to the later stages of some of these rounds, they're going to start things on board with the offense. Swirly and compLexity going to be first to try and strike.
Swally has picked up the bomb, and he's going to throw two very early Semtexes over to that bomb site. Great first pick onto Crimsic. Should have maybe anticipated that one come out. Karma gets one kill in the favor of Optic, but Havoc trades that one away very quickly and swiftly. Formal finds himself in a 3v1 situation.
This is a very smart play from compLexity now. They do have the numbers advantage. It's a 3v1. They're watching the lanes they need to, and what happens when you go over towards the A side? They're set up for these long-range engagements and any trades they need to pick up. compLexity able to pick up the first attacking round with ease.
What I love about compLexity's play there after they managed to get the kills in their favor is they didn't hang about, waste their time. I've seen quite a few teams today just kind of and ah about maybe rotating around to a different bomb site. They were like, we've got the kills, got the advantage, let's go hit it on the A site, give ourselves the advantage. The gun sites, the man advantage, everything's going on our way. Let's not waste time around B where things can get a bit thick and hairy.
And that's what you want to see, right? The cohesion, the communication, the teamwork, all there. As soon as those kills go in, the rotation follows suit, and now Optic Gaming going to try and match. Formal already picked up first blood, takes out Havoc. I want to see, Thermal was left in, so he's a great line of sight that he can try and work with. Meanwhile, Llama's going to be pretty much alone there at the B side. If a push comes in from Optic, he'll be taken out. Meanwhile, Karma might be able to spot a couple of players on the flank. Obor with him has one in the air, picks that one up, spots the second, and trying to connect with that one as well. Unfortunately, runs out of ammo.
Unfortunate for him, but if you're keeping score at home, 1-0 to Formal in the sniper battles over Havoc. Optic round that one out and make it one apiece overall in the score.
Good old-fashioned game of tic-tac-toe, right? These teams just taking turns, putting rounds on the board, and we see Scum take out Llama there in your round-ending kill cam. Looking at this, it might come down to some of the defense, right? These are two very fast rounds of search and destroy. Whichever team can show up on defense will be very interesting to see how they move out forward. Formal does have the sniper. I want to see if it's pulled out on the other side. Looks like it's not. compLexity going to go for a B push once again, but they do have Havoc sort of lurking around A just in case anyone tries to push through.
Llama pushing forward onto this B bomb site. No one going to be awaiting him in the doorway. Doesn't get met with a flashbang, and no, he's fallen off. The flashbang, I don't think they have any idea how valuable that flashbang has just become there. Not even a lethal grenade being able to pick up a kill there. And we find ourselves all of a sudden in a 1v1 situation, Scump versus Swally.
And Swarley is pretty close to his specialist ability as well. Meanwhile, Scump's going to come all the way around, go towards that B side. Swarley does have control of the bomb in this 1v1. About 40 seconds left to play with for both these teams. And looking at this, if Scump just goes and sits on top of the B side, unfortunately comes into the window backwards. And the patient play on the side of compLexity pays off, giving them the round advantage.
Just watching the final kill cam. I'm interested as to why Scump decided to turn his way all the way back out the window. And I mean, if you're going to enter somewhere, you should probably make sure that that area is clear. But maybe he heard something, thought he saw something behind himself. You can never know what goes through these guys' heads unless you ask them themselves. But compLexity find themselves at 2-1.
Now, Crimsix is a player that tends to step up when it comes to Redwood Search and Destroy. Meanwhile, Swarley picks up the first blood, takes out Formal, and now the push on the bridge has pretty much been halted for just a second as trades go down from both sides. So we're left with a 2v2 situation. And just like that, Crimsix has found his life on the wrong side of a 2v1, but he can definitely get this done. The only thing, that bomb is down right on the other side of the bridge. Parasite and Havoc just need to set up and make sure they're in position when Crim decides to go for any sort of push.
It was a very cautious play not to try and challenge Havoc. He had no idea what might be lurking for him behind that rock, and obviously I think Havoc had an SMG available in his hands and he wouldn't have won that gunfight very easily. Crimsix has picked up the bomb. He's looking to find an opportunity to get the bomb down if he possibly can. Parasite and Havoc trying to do their best not to let him have that.
Now Crim's worked his way over towards the A site, and this bomb will start to go down. So 25 seconds left on the clock. Bomb down at A. You're going to see the arrows for compLexity react to what's happened on the map.
If our commentary does get a little bit quiet or vague at any times, it's because these guys are sitting very close to us and we do not want to give anything away. Crimsix in a 2v1. Peaks the man on the bomb. He is shot and tagged up, but Parasite answers back with a great bait and switch. And compLexity will go 3-1 up in his search and destroy. You see that Crimsix doesn't look fazed by that. He's thinking, okay, stuff like that happens. Let's get on with it. Start winning it.
And it looks like they're going to give the defuse over towards Havoc to sort of build up the kinetic armor. It comes into play a bit later in the search and destroy, so you want to get it as soon as possible. He's halfway there, and compLexity now have the 2-round advantage in game number 2. Of course, Optic come out on top in game number 1, but compLexity, really, we see the teamwork, the communication coming in from the squad. They're setting up for trades appropriately. They're taking control of bomb sites and then capitalizing as well.
Parasite cleaning his glasses there. Can't quite believe what he's seeing on his screen, apparently. 3-1 to compLexity over Optic in this search and destroy.
Let's see. Looks like Formal will have an AR on the side of the defense, but the push going to come in once again from compLexity. One player in the middle of the map. That's Havoc, who's worked his way into an engagement. Unfortunately, he'll be taken out for first blood.
See the guys on Optic learning their lessons not to push out to that B-bomb site with Semtex is in play. It's going to stop any aggressive pushes, and it gives the attacking side a better opportunity actually pushing onto that bomb site. A bit more uncontested. The trophy system comes out, which gives Swally the info. Someone is lurking around that corner. Looks like he is going to try and put the bomb down. Here comes Parasite on a massive flank here. He is going to spot Crimsix out, and that gives Swally a great opportunity to push into the lab. However, Parasite's met, and he glitches out, making sure that he stays alive, and the trades come in. Great communication and teamwork from compLexity. It's Parasite and Swally versus Karma.
Now, Karma's worked his way around as well, and in this 2v1 situation with the bomb down, Karma can't get this done, but you need to take out the player on the site itself. That being Swarley. Parasite has spotted him on the bridge.
Lovely.
Parasite goes down, so now we have a 1v1 situation. The teammate comes through, and this is exactly what we've been talking about on compLexity. As soon as something happens, a teammate reacts, follows up the kill, and it's an absolutely beautiful setup from them so far in game 2.
Yeah, a glimmer of hope for Karma there as he takes down his Black Ops 2 World Champion teammate in the form of Parasite, but unfortunately can't get the second man in his pursuit to be the Black Ops 3 World Champion, as compLexity are up 4-1 this search and destroy. And it looks like Optic Gaming going to try something a little bit different on the attack. Let's see if it pays off for them.
Scum's going to be very aggressive here. He's going to be the front runner, lead man, as they say. Looks like he's going to try and spot anyone around this corner before just getting away, and it looks like they're going to rotate the bomb back over towards the B side. And you look at the setup from compLexity, it's a split defense, right? They have two players over by A, one player really watching the middle of the map a little bit, but both those players are in striking distance of the B site.
I'm quite surprised that compLexity have given so much room on that B site for Optic to go forward. Very interesting. I think they're just hoping that the split that they've done might actually come back and give them something to work with. As you see, numbers 2 and 4, that being Parasite and Swally, hoping to come and pinch on this Optic, as we've got Havoc and Llama on the opposite side. As Formal gets an engagement with Swally, loses that gunfight. Karma still sitting on the bomb site. Karma goes down to Llama. Swally goes down to Crimson. It's up to Scum to try and pull off a miracle 1v3. Goes for the second one on Parasite. He has 2 left. He's finally going to go down to Havoc. Didn't see him coming. And unfortunately, it's going to be 5-1 to compLexity.
And Swarley's going to pick up the defuse. So not only does he have his specialist ability, he now has a dart to work with in the next few rounds. And compLexity's 1 away from taking out Optic Gaming in Game 2 and tying up the series at 1 apiece. Let's take a look at that last play. One more time. It gets a little bit scary there. You think Scum might be able to get it done. It's going towards that top window area. But Havoc, the accurate shots with the submachine gun, ends it.
It's unfortunate COD timing for him. Just as he's coming up the stairs, someone's jumping down. That's sometimes how the game works out. 5-1 to compLexity. Optic looking for a bit of momentum and life coming back into this series, well, into this map of the series. They currently lead the series 1-0.
compLexity's going to go really passive this round, right? They're just going to wait out the dart, see how much information we can get out of Swarley. So it looks like he's going to be our pilot here, going around the map of Redwood. Should be able to spot at least one player. Spots one inside of the water, connects with the first blood. Scum taken out, Karma down as well, and now it's all up to Formal in the 1v4.
He's going to start off by spotting Havoc, gets a couple of shots down there. Here comes the lightning strike. Can he get away in time? Yes, he does. Managed to stay alive and delay this situation a little bit longer. I think he just picked Havoc there. Havoc goes for the challenge, wins the gunfight. He's not afraid to take them on. Levels the series up at 1 apiece. They're getting hyped on the stage, and they believe that they can do this. They can take down Optic.
compLexity looking very good in game number 1 and game number 2. On the other side, Optic Gaming, still a lot of fans rooting for them moving forward in this series, and we get to see a game number 3 set for evac uplink. Looking at the two teams throughout that one, you really don't normally see that type of performance from Formal and Crimsix.
What do you say? Sometimes you don't have your best of games. I mean, we've been here for a long time during today. It's been a long haul. I think, what's the time now? Hold on. Let me just check.
It's been a long time. We've been in the venue
It's
since
20 past 9. I've been up since 6 o'clock. So
exactly.
We've been here for what? Well, I've been up for about 15 hours now. So I imagine these guys have been up for a long time as well. It's not easy coming all the way to the end of the day when you haven't really been playing all day and you're maybe not warmed up, and these guys are trying to get themselves rallied up. And I think Optic play their best when they are on a momentous train of playing games back-to-back and really getting into it. I think maybe they probably hit a lull period coming into this one. They need to get themselves back up for it in evac uplink, focus on the objective, get themselves going again, believe that they are the team and players that they know they can and are, and hopefully they'll be able to get this series in their favor once again.
It's funny that you mentioned that, because evac can be a swing game, right? Uplink in general can be a swing game mode in a series, and especially evac, when you can set up forward that spawn trap and put points on the board one after another. It's going to be interesting to see how both teams really come out in this one. Now, looking back to that first respawn, compLexity looked really good opening up. They had multiple sort of streaks where they would just perform 3 pieces, 4 pieces, sometimes crazy streaks really going in their favor, but they weren't able to convert those into points. I would have to say it's a little bit easier when it comes to uplink because of that respawn delay, but they need to make sure they can convert on the 1-point tosses and not get too greedy and try and go for dunks when there are players nearby ready to push.
Their game plan was just to rock Optic. Get a first blood really upsets their game plan. They're a bit like, okay, well, How do we answer back with this? What's the game plan now? And losing one man on Search and Destroy is so valuable. You can't even fathom how much it changes the game completely and the entire complexity of the actual match itself. So that looked like what a lot of the strategy from complexity was. You remember, even on defense, they were aggressive, pushing up to the rock and getting that one kill, backing off. The trade's been made. It doesn't matter. We've got a kill in our favor. We'll work with that. How are Optic going to answer back to it? And in that series, in that map, it didn't look like they answered too well. But coming into evac uplink, let's see if they can answer back with the Optic that we know and love.
Overdrive and active camo will be the first two things taken off of the board in the ban to protect, and of course the heat wave follows that one up, so pretty standard to say so far. And now the flashbang gets taken out as well. You think the active camo really used to go for a lot of dunks in uplink. The overdrive is almost taken out every single time in this game mode, and the heat wave can secure points on the board as well. Looks like complexity wants to play this one straight up against Optic.
Yeah, it looks like they're looking for as many gunfights as they possibly can. I'm surprised not to see any grenades being brought out. We saw how much complexity utilized that in the Search and Destroy. Maybe they're not too worried about it in a respawn game mode. Obviously in Hardpoint, all the grenades were taken out, and that's a game mode that Optic won. Maybe it's an opportunity for them to do the same, but they haven't decided to do that. They're taking out Overclock. Kinetic armor's also been taken away by complexity. That's 4 specialists. I'm trying to think of a time I've ever seen 4 specialists banned out.
You're reading my mind, because I was trying to think of the exact same thing, and this is going to be interesting to see as we move into the specialist draft, the team compositions these teams decide to go for, because you think the Tempest is still available, Psychosis is still on the board, both of those are used a lot, but I think we have a very interesting uplink coming in, because one thing that can make a huge difference, Vision Pulse picked up on both sides. Crimsix and Swarly have it at their disposal.
It's interesting, when it comes to ban and protect, you can imagine there's not too much communication. It's kind of set in stone. It's almost, you do it automatically without thinking, but they really turn to each other and are like, okay, what are we going to be picking here, boys? And it looks like we are going to see a Siphon Tempest for both teams, and a Vision Pulse and a Psychosis for both teams. So they obviously want to keep any utilities they possibly can. Vision Pulse is a solid one, maybe not the most optimal utility for something like uplink, but when you've had 4 of them taken away, what can you really do? Psychosis probably being the best choice after that.
Well, I actually do really like this Vision Pulse come out, not only because we see pretty much the entire big 3 taken out of the game, but just as a specialist ability in general, right? A lot of people always talk about it in Search and Destroy, sort of being able to spot out players. Uplink, especially when you're on the side sort of pushing towards the helipad, we don't see a lot of points scored on that side. Being able to get that information, know where those players are, and then go for the push can make the difference, even if it's a split second. And if you have the drone carrier really have that at their disposal, people already know where they're at on the map. You just add that, it's like, okay, you know where I am, you knew where I was at because I had the satellite drone, and even then, you think there's going to be a player with them as well, so even if that turns out to be the lead blocker, the position's already up. They just get free information, and then they communicate that to their team, and then we see an effective push come out to try and get more points on the scoreboard.
I think everything you said there is completely true, but I don't think we're kidding ourselves when we say it's not the priority choice. It's literally something they picked up because, well, there's nothing else left in it. We can't just overload our team with lethals, because at that point we're only going to have so many specialists on the field at one time, and specialists are literally game changers. They can be the difference between winning and losing. They'll completely change the face of a game. So having something like Vision Pulse, even if it's not something you want necessarily, it's still going to be more effective than bringing out a lethal like an Annihilator that could literally go like that.
You talk about specialists really changing a game, being the difference between a winner and a loss. I immediately think of Gunjar with TK versus Tainted Minds earlier today, picks up 4 and saves the game for them, quite literally, with that play, because Tainted Minds were right there trying to get the flag on the board. But now, Game 3, Optic Gaming Complexity, we're set to go over on evac in this area right here. Glass going to be very important going forward. You see the satellite drone floating in the air. This uplink portal sort of not really preferred. We see teams wrap it all the way around. Not many points going down, but on this side is where you want to be able to capitalize. You spawn those players out green, have full control, and then we see scores just start to rack up.
We'll be getting underway very shortly. Optic Gaming and Complexity tied up at 1 apiece in the best of 5 series. This is both these teams' first game in the group stage. They've obviously got Panda Gaming and LDLC in their group as well. Let's see what these two teams will do as they go to war in this third map.
And we are now underway for Game 3. Want to start on board with Formal. It's going to be really key for Optic Gaming's opening push towards the satellite drone to crimSix. Grabs it right away, sneaks back towards his team, and one thing to highlight there, they send Scum towards the middle of the map to just make sure no one can come straight through and sort of halt the rotation over towards the uplink portal.
crimSix in possession of the drone. I've seen this a lot today. Just wrapping it round to this kitchen side. And a lot of people opt to go for the one-pointer over the side of the building, but it looks like they're just going to try and bait the complexity liner up. crimSix throwing it down just to let them know that the drone is stranded on the top bedroom. Karma's actually picks it up and goes for the one-point play. Optic making kills in their favor. compLexity have actually spawned on the opposite side as well. We're actually going to see Havoc push right over the drone reset. I'm not too sure I agree with that play. All by yourself, he's maybe hoping for the most heroic play of his entire Call of Duty career. But either way, Optic haven't particularly capitalized on it, so it's not the worst situation.
And now they're in a position to strike again, though. Karma picks up one and now has the HCXD. He's going to use that to push out. There are only two players left up for compLexity. One of them is by the drone spawn. As this is making its way all the way back, the drone comes up. Karma picks up the kill, but the drone was thrown away, so just waste a little bit of time, which you do want to do if you're compLexity right now when that drone's getting so close to your board.
Solid idea from them, just run the 15 seconds down on this one. Let themselves reset, get the kills in their advantage, which they seem to be doing very well, in fact, as the reset comes in. Karma's caught out by Parasite. compLexity have control of this panels. Let's see if Optic can retake it as Formal goes down to Parasite. He's playing very, very well with this Man of War. Answers onto crimSix now as he's taken out by Scum.
Now Swarley gets stuck on the mantle, ends up going down. Llama's going to try and save the day on the 6th tree. He falls as well, so drone goes over to Optic Gaming, and Karma's already pushed all the way through. Kitchen is set up. Karma will be in control of the drone. crimSix just going to try and stay alive, be a little bit of a distraction as his teammate tries to come in and pick up some more points. You see crimSix picks up one, the pass comes in, the alley-oop is successful. Optic Gaming up 3-0.
Watching Parasite here, and I don't actually know if he's aware that they're playing uplink on evac, because he was currently just wall running absolutely aimlessly at this point. He's over here. I don't really know what he's doing. I can only hope he's trying to rack up score streaks, because right now Optic are getting a lot of points, or the fact that maybe compLexity are going to come up on the respawn and he's going to try and slay them out.
Parasite just has to go huge there, right? Because he's in a power position. The kills are going in their favor. Now they have points on the board, but they need control of the satellite drone spawn. So let's hop on board with Llama to see if he can connect here. He ends up losing that engagement, has Havoc to follow up. The drone has been picked up. The forward pass over to Swarley, and they do not. They have one more player here in position. Parasite stays alive. He ends up taking out Scum, and now Swarley's fully streaked out, and we have a tie game.
Swarley's going to be streaked out. Parasite was very close to actually reaching streaks himself, and we have it tied up. What looked like a very questionable situation for the guys on compLexity has turned out very well as they suddenly take the lead by 1 point. Llama in a great position with that Man of War, takes down Karma and crimSix, looking for a third one, goes to challenge Formal. Formal gets the better of him on that one. Havoc pushing up with the drone onto the AC side. Parasite takes down Formal in great fashion. Optic are falling at the numbers. What has happened to these guys on the Optic Gaming roster? They are falling, and they don't really have an answer back. The communication seems to have stopped from those guys over there. They've got to pick it up if they want to take the victory here.
They send crimSix all the way around the map on the overextension pretty much to try and stop the drone going over for compLexity, but still sort of going in their favor. Now the drone reset. You see where compLexity is at once again inside of glass. Parasite's going to be the furthest one pushed up on the 4th street, trying to make it 5, but he buys enough time for Havoc to move in, get the 1-point toss. 10-4 now in favor of compLexity.
10-4 indeed, as Optic are looking to utilize these last 40 seconds as much as they possibly can. Scum has pushed into lower panels. Does get the better of the HCXD. It's not going to fall to that one. Less than 30 seconds left, and compLexity have control of the drone reset. Karma gets a HCXD kill as well. Parasite pushing forward with the drone, goes for the pass onto top AC. Karma beats him down and stops that one. Here comes 18 seconds left. I think in this situation like this, they're probably going to have to try and settle for 1 point as Llama has the Tempest out. Scythe available for Formal. He's going to save that for the second round as we go for Karma, looking for that safe point play to round out the first half.
10-5 in favor of compLexity on the first half, and you see they look hyped up and ready to go. And looking at the stats so far through that one, compLexity really good showing. They got the ball moving, and Parasite was in that position over by the Outflank portal right outside of Laundry for so long, right? Optic was still putting points on the board, and he was over there waiting patiently to strike. And then, as soon as it comes in, compLexity just answer back with point after point. Now on the side where they're most likely to rotate the drone, they need to have that sort of slaying power again if they want to walk away. The smokes are going to come out too, but Formal just pulls out the Scythe, sends as many shots as he can right through glass to open things up.
This is the start you wanted from these guys as the drone actually goes up for a 15-second time out. Aggressive stuff from Optic, trying to get control of the map. As it looks like compLexity have come all the way on the flank. Formal has a fully streaked out kit for him to utilize as Karma's going to push forward. Formal just taking control of the panels. He pulls out the Hellstorm, spots two spawning up from the base. One manages to escape him, but he's going to hopefully take him down as he spots Llama on the bottom panels, gets the better of him. Parasite answers back. They are on the preferred side, but right now they're not making the best of it.
It was 9 in a row for Formal, and now Karma's pulled out the Tempest. Spots Swarly right down there, but Swarly is able to escape. It looks like one player went for the push, and now Karma is able to strike with that Tempest, and the drone just being thrown all the way back in their base. This is going to be very risky for Parasite here. The drone's still up on the map, I believe. Scump and company still trying to move in and grab it to get this control. And they're coming away with some huge kills here. They take out Swarly. They're still trying to get in position. Even if that drone resets, you see they have control of that glass area as we're waiting for the drone to reset now. They have control. They just need to capitalize. They sort of have this forward line that's still up on the map. And even with that HCXD, doesn't take out his teammate. And there we go. 2 quick down for compLexity. The push from Optic Gaming has stopped.
Parasite just posted up, waiting for his opportunity. He's going to actually elect to use the Scythe all of a sudden, giving Havoc the intel that he could be pushing over there. Great communication from those guys. Formal trying to stop the bleed here as the guys from compLexity push forward. Swally in possession of the drone. Formal goes down. Parasite with the headshot there. He's actually going to turn and burn with the help of his teammate onto Crimsix in the end. Scum answers back with 2 kills of his own to slow things down. The drone has been reset. Parasite still going AWOL in the base. And Optic don't even seem to be bothered about the fact that he's down there. He's still putting on a KD clinic right now. Parasite looking to do damage, but on the other side, Optic finally have control of the drone. They're looking to capitalize in terms of points. They get 2 on the board. Parasite still hovering around the reset, and it looks like he's going to be contested by Formal.
And as soon as Formal moves in, Parasite picks up another. Now only 4 shots left, does have to reload, and he's going to try and keep control of this top glass area. Pulls out the HCXT, try and get some information. Meanwhile, Swarly has control of the satellite drone, making his way through the middle of the map. As Parasite's still going to sort of act as the second lead blocker as Llama takes the front position. Just going to try and make sure this point goes in. The toss up and over red, unfortunately, it's wide.
Here comes Parasite again, playing a very interesting sweeper role, just trying to cause as much of a distraction and disrupt the Optic push as much as he possibly can, as Karma has possession of the drone. Just throwing it around so he can get available that gunfight. It bounces off the wall awkwardly and he picks it back up without him wanting to. The vision pulse has actually come out and Scump and Formal are left to try and deal with it as best they can. Great mechanics there to stay alive in midair, pick up the kill and get back into the map as Karma's pushing forward, makes the kill with the VMP. The drone has dropped down, but again, they can't seem to get past this defensive line of compLexity. Parasite drops the lightning strikes to slow them down. We've got 1 minute 50 for Optic to get 4 points in. It's only going to take one opportunity where they can get a relay available for them to start doing something.
You see the accurate shots from Scump help stop the compLexity push, and now he's in a fight around this tree, and he gets the help of a couple of teammates, and now Formal will be able to pick up the satellite drone, the forward pass over to Karma. Lead blocker for Scump goes down, but Crim6 is already in the base. Unfortunately, he can't help his teammates out here. Quick 3 down. compLexity have control of the satellite drone. The Psychosis was used right there towards the end. 40 seconds remaining. compLexity do have the lead. Optic still within striking distance, but compLexity going to opt to try and waste as much time as possible.
Yep, and Havoc, it's just taking the drone away from Optic. He's making it so that they can't possibly get him. All he's got to do is just aimlessly go up and down on this wall. Optic desperately trying to chase him down. I don't know how much time they're going to have left to really be able to do this. I think that's all that compLexity really needed to do. And now they're just going to waste further time with the drone, put it up for the 15-second reset. That map is going to go to compLexity, and they'll take the lead in the series 2-1, Paradox.
2-1 in favor of compLexity. 11-7 will be your final score in the uplink. And you see, once again, they're hyped up, ready to go. That's 2 maps in a row. And looking at game number 4 of Fringe Capture the Flag, looking at the way both of these teams are playing, once again, that respawn delay sort of helps compLexity. Their pushes are beautiful at times. Yeah. The only thing, Parasite keeps getting out of position. He's going on these massive streaks, but there's sort of a gap right in the formation. Parasite's all the way pushed up. His teammates, all 3 are a bit further back. That creates a little window for an Optic Gaming player to move in and strike.
I mean, we gave so much credit to Parasite earlier, how smart he is. He is a very intelligent Call of Duty player, and he's showing it right now. Exactly his positioning. I mean, I was just like, what are you doing over there, Paradox? You seem to be a little bit lost. Are you drunk out there or something? Because you're in a complete no man's land. But he had faith in his teammates to make the kills and get the drone off the reset, and all he had to do was cause a distraction, make kills for his team, and in the end, it worked out for compLexity. They kept getting the relay and 2 points in their favor, and they came out with a victory.
And that's something we see from both teams, sort of that trust and the faith in your teammates to make the plays when it matters. But Optic Gaming going to have to step up and capture the flag on Fringe. And if we do go to that game number 5, it will be Breach, Search, and Destroy. So looking at Fringe, you think we've had some nail-biting capture the flag so far throughout the Call of Duty World League Championship today. Looking at this one, we think one earlier comes down to a lightning strike. We have one comes down to a massive Tempest play over on Breach. But Fringe, really long routes. compLexity has pulled out smokes before. Interesting to see when the Bans and Protect start up, if that'll be something that's targeted.
We'll have to wait and see as we jump into the Ban and Protects very shortly. They will be underway. We'll see how Optic and compLexity decide to strategically put themselves into map number 4 as we jump into Overdrive and active camo taken away. It looks like the Specialists once again being a major factor for compLexity as far as their Ban and Protect system goes.
The HCXD scouting tool taken out for game number 4, and we know how much information that can get in Capture the Flag, especially with the very long respawn delay. Flashbang taken off of the board as well on the side of Optic Gaming, and then active camo and Heatwave, 2 things that can come up very huge when trying to get that flag home off the board as well. So we have 3 more to move with, and we expect 2 of these to be rapid fire and high caliber. Rapid fire will be the first one to come in.
Pretty sure we will see high caliber make an appearance right at the end of this. Concussion's taken away, so this is going to be an all-out brawl as far as the guns go. We might see a few lethal grenades thrown into the mix of it, see if we can get some first early picks. No, high caliber somehow makes it through, but I doubt we'll see either of these teams pick it up. If they do, things could get very, very interesting.
You think high caliber makes it through for game 4 with the AR presence that both of these teams have on Fringe? If both of these teams decide to use it, it would be very interesting game number 4 for sure.
I mean, Havoc had a little discussion there with his teammates. It seemed like it definitely posed a reaction from him to see exactly what that kind of sets up the situation as far as their gameplay is concerned. I don't think they'll be too worried about it. I mean, I think overall, as far as the teams go, high caliber is kind of respected as we don't tend to play with it. We're not particular. No one's particularly a big fan of using it in their teams themselves. You just did a massive fist pump there, Paradox. Explain to me.
The Vision Pulse makes it in for game number 4 as well, and on Fringe, this can make a huge difference. You think you're pushing down the track side of the map. If anyone's in small room, sort of waiting in the midst to come up behind you and stop any sort of flag push, the Vision Pulse sort of gives that play away. If someone's trying to push through 10, that helps too. Yep. And when we see teams sort of push over towards Grandma's, pick up the flag and play a little bit of ring around the rosy inside of Grandma's house, the vision pulse can come in handy. So when we get to some of these stalemate situations, I'm looking at Karma and Swirly to come up huge. Even if they're trying to defend as well, when that push comes in, just that little bit of information can make a huge difference here in Game 4.
We're seeing compLexity bring out 2 lethals now, Scythe and Tempest in their hands, and we're seeing only one on the hands of Optic. They have gone for the Psychosis. Any insight as to why that might be?
It's going to be interesting to see, right? I think compLexity still has been playing very fast-paced. Optic might try and match that as well, because theirs is a team that can just guns blazing.
They're
right?
looking for kills.
Yeah, we've looked at it before, just how fast this team will play a lot of their respawn game modes. So here, not really too much really going on with that. I mean, the Psychosis is something we see in Capture the Flag all the time, right? Just throw a player off for a little bit. Thus, a fraction of a second can make that difference. So really, will it come to use on a push? Will it be used in a stalemate situation? It's going to be something we look for in game number 4. compLexity do have the upper hand in this series, may I remind everyone. If they win this Capture the Flag, then they will be up 1-0 in this group.
Absolutely. It won't be the best of situations for Optic, but they definitely got an advantage going into the rest of the group. I think Panda and LDLC are not particularly teams that will be too much for Optic to handle. I think this is probably the most competitive game they're going to be playing in their group so far, but obviously the groups will be deciding the seeding for the first 2 teams that make it through at the top of the group. As we jump into the 4th map, Fringe Capture the Flag. Can Optic bring the series back in their favor, take it to a map 5, or will compLexity do what no one thought they could do and seal out the victory?
And we always talk about Optic being a bit slow to start at a lot of tournaments, right? So if compLexity walk away with this one, it will be interesting to see, but I do want to see what Optic is thinking off the start as we're loading in to Fringe. The top bar here going to be really interesting, because you have this sort of visual on the middle of the map. If someone pushes from small room, you can spot them as well, and the middle of the map will be wide open for some flying pushes as we see coming in. You really don't want that, right? It's sort of the fastest route to get back home. Both teams ready to go. I want to start on board with Formal for game number 4.
See how these 2 teams will hit each other. I'm expecting to see Optic throw a lot of numbers at the flag itself. When they play CTF, it's very much a high-pressured, high-octane game. They almost choke their opponents to death with the sheer number and pressure that they put on. And straight away, crimsix has pulled the flag away from compLexity. And I think compLexity are just giving that one up. They're actually saying, okay, well, that was a good play from them. They managed to get 1-0 up in the CTF. Let's try and focus on keeping this at bay and make a push ourselves.
That's exactly what we talked about. Optic game, we come out, strike first within the first few seconds, as well as they're now up 1-0 in this Capture the Flag, and they're going to keep the pressure on. Karma goes down to the middle of the map. Meanwhile, crimsix has a teammate to work with here in Formal, but on the other side, compLexity going to get aggressive themselves, answering right back down the tracks. There's 2 quick down in their favor. They do lose 1, but Karma's set up inside of Barn, able to take out Havoc. Sort of stops the push for a second, but look at the position from Swirly. He's been able to pick up the flag, picks up 1, but takes a little bit too long. Optic able to find him and take him out.
They will stop the push from compLexity, and now's the time for them to actually capitalize on it, but they are unaware that Parasite, again, he's been playing this real unusual flanking role, just kind of being the thorn in Optic's backside right now, trying to make a play. crimsix's not going to have any of it, and he reads it like a book, taking him down. Havoc in the closet, goes head-to-head with Scum, doesn't win that, 3 kills. All of the men down for compLexity. They've got to be aware that they're going to be spawning at the back silos and in tin. And you see exactly that. crimsix has set himself up on top grannies to make sure that doesn't happen. Parasite trying to lock it down for his team, see if they can thwart the push from Optic, and they do so well.
So as soon as those kills come in, you see Karma pretty much stops here. Now he's picked up 2 at close range with the Shiva before being taken out. Buys some time for his teammates to come off of the respawn and have the push. But you see the map right now pretty much right down the middle for both teams. The only outlier, pretty much crimsix, making his way all the way through 10 and able to pick up 1 on Swirly. That opens the door because Parasite's the furthest one pushed up, along with Llama, and they're both going to have to rotate back to sort of stop this flag push. crimsix does use the Psychosis, moving straight over towards tracks, and you see his teammates are here. He's home free. Another flag on the board for Optic Gaming.
I just want to say something right now. Formal and Karma both using High Caliber on their Shivas right now. So not only has High Caliber made it through the ban and protect, they are utilizing that attachment to its fullest.
Let's see, it looks to be helping them so far. Crimsix gonna pick up one as well before going down. Meanwhile, compLexity entering right back. It's really a slugfest between both teams so far, as Llama will try and get in position, picks up one on Formal, but then his life is ended. So the compLexity pretty much just stuck around this dub area, pretty much right at the front of Barn now as they've worked their way up. It's a game of inches at the end of the day, and compLexity really need to make sure when they get the numbers advantage, they're able to capitalize and go for the yards.
Swally's also pulled out a high caliber on his HVK right now. Scump is going to go head-to-head with him, and Optic winning the trades all day long.
Say that again?
Looks like Parasite is still playing a very defensive role in the base. I think as soon as Optic maybe potentially go for the pull, Parasite's going to look to counter pull and cause any sort of distraction he possibly can. Scump goes head-to-head with Swally in Grannies. Llama also wins the kill on Formal. In fact, this is just, I've never seen someone put so much faith in his teammate to make the kills before. Parasite has put full confidence in his squad to make those kills, and he's gone for the pull. He has the flag in his hand, M8 to his side, goes head-to-head with Scump. Scump shuts him down, gets the return. Here comes the flag cap for Crimsix. I have to say, even at halftime, approaching in 1 minute's time, it's got to be over.
3 unanswered flag caps. Optic Gaming currently in the lead, and Crimsix is moving closer and closer towards more score streaks, and now he's finally taken out. But look at the position from Karma on the other side of the map, was getting a little bit close, and then he finally goes down. It's going to be up to Scump to sort of make the defensive hold, as all 4 of these compLexity players are getting within striking distance, has teammates spawning up as well, and with them being able to pick up one, sort of keeps the numbers even for now.
compLexity trying to mount a comeback. They just cannot handle the aggression coming out from Optic. I don't know what has happened to them in the space of that one map, but all of a sudden they look like the Optic that we're so used to seeing on a regular basis throughout this season. And they're really putting on a show right now in this CTF, showing compLexity exactly how it's done. I don't think I've seen bad scorings from most of these compLexity guys all series long.
They're going to try and get
really struggling.
Another flag home as well. 3 seconds left. The movement beautiful from Crimsix. 4-0 at the end of the first half. Optic Gaming have kicked into high gear. So just 5 minutes away from forcing the game 5. Do you think they do it?
Whether they would take game 5, or do you mean
they
will
force the game 5? It's looking good so far. Like, it's 4-0 after the first half.
I mean, some people say there's no such thing as a sure thing, but I think Optic being 4-0 on CTF Fringe with 5 minutes left is probably a sure thing. I would put a lot of money on them to do this, but, well, if they didn't, I'd probably be out of pocket quite a bit. But moving into the second half, 4-0 Optic. compLexity have got to mount a mountain of a comeback. I think this is a situation where Parasite maybe can't afford to go and do those wild flanks and plays that he would love to do. He's got to work a little bit more with the team.
And compLexity, as soon as they go towards this track side, when they try and push, Karma pretty much shut the door right away. There's 2 in a row for him. Meanwhile, compLexity get the teammates, get the kills going in their favor on that side because they're set up properly. The team shots come in to neutralize some of these players. But now we do get to see some of these specialists are going to come into play. Formal does have the scythe. I want to stay on board with him through the respawn, just to see what he's really able to do. It's 5 seconds. We're going to hop back on board with him as soon as possible. Meanwhile, Scump gets really aggressive here, is able to take out Havoc, and going to keep Formal highlighted on your screen because, as you can see, Swirly was able to pick up the flag on the side of compLexity, uses the smoke to try and get away as well.
Karma going to chase this one down like a bloodhound, and he does get the kill in the end. Formal trying to lay down cover for his team to get the return. Flag does eventually go back to its home base. compLexity have the number advantage as Optics start to spawn out and make their way to the backside. Here comes Parasite with the HVK in hand. Got to be aggressive here. He does have the scythe available if he decides to use it to pull this one. Kinetic armor comes out from the man that is Scump, and he finally gets the kill. Parasite looking to go for the flagpole if he can. He does have teammates available for him as he starts to run down train tracks, and that is going to be a pull for them. Let's see if they can keep the relay going.
Now Swirly's in position to take out Scump. Sees him go into Grandma's, and is going to just try and keep the pressure up. Has control of the flag now and needs to move. You see the smokes come out once again, not targeted in the band and protect, but he is taken out and the flag is at home. That puts a lot more pressure on compLexity going forward. Nice Parasite in striking distance. Top Grandma spots one, has to switch to his fist and is caught off guard before going down. The push from compLexity taken out. Optic Gaming have control of their base. Llama needs to work together, but there's only so much room you have on the track side, and just like that, 2 kills go in favor of Optic Gaming.
compLexity really trying to mount any sort of comeback. 2 minutes 35 to get 3 flags. Some people struggle to get 1 flag in general in a game of capture the flag, but Optic are going to get 4 in one single half of CTF, and compLexity have to answer back very quickly. They're running very short on time after how the recent Search and Destroy went in this series. A very convincing win for them. You have to say that they're probably fancying their chances going into it, but you can never be too sure. You can never count Optic out, because they always somehow find a way to clutch up and take the W's in the end. But compLexity doing a good job pulling this one, and I think they're away with that one. It's going to put it to 4-2. Optic's defense is looking a little bit shaky. There's a few gaps revealing themselves at the moment. Are they going to hold strong for this last 1 minute 45?
They need to, and compLexity still need 2 to tie it up and just force the overtime. Parasite looks like he's trying to take out one small room, gets that call out over towards Havoc. So you play this, and you see the flood comes in from Optic Gaming, sending all these players right down tracks. Specialist being used as well. So we do see the Psychosis popped from Crimson, is making his way all the way down, wins the gunfight against Llama as well, making sure he stays alive. Does not want to give up any map control over towards compLexity, because when compLexity is moving over towards his grandma's side, they've been able to really keep that control for a good while. The only thing, they're not able to get sort of the ball rolling in sort of that aspect, because once they get that control, they end up falling, and Optic Gaming take back control of their base. Now Parasite has out the side. He's taking out the Tempest, still in the hands of Llama, trying to do as much damage as possible.
That was a big shutdown kill from Scump there. Karma also follows back with the MA, and they stop any sort of push from compLexity for a little while longer. They did have the man advantage, and they're not pushing this again. This is not what I would usually see from Optic. I think they're quite content with the victory, with the 4 flags they had now, and I think that's going to be enough. But let's hope they don't get complacent. 30 seconds left. You would expect this is going to be game set. Let's see if they can finish off the match in the next map, which will be Search and Destroy on Breach, as Karma is just lighting things up here to end it out, just giving himself a little bit of a confidence and morale boost heading into the 5th map. A great player, Shane from Team LDLC, always said even if the game is said and done, those last few seconds, getting a few kills to boost your morale and demoralize the other team can be that much of a factor. Sounds silly, but it definitely is something that can be a factor going into a map 5. And we'll be having that very shortly as everyone goes to try and regroup themselves.
I believe it was a combined 9 streak on the side of Optic Gaming at the end of that game number 4, and they're going to walk away 4-2, your final score. Now we get to turn our attention back towards a Search and Destroy game 5 between Optic Gaming and compLexity. That game number 2, really compLexity had control throughout that Search and Destroy. They were playing aggressive, they were getting the trades and some of the first bloods in their favor and able to capitalize. Optic Gaming need to step up in game 5.
Well, that's exactly what we want to see from Optic. Aggression. That's where their specialties lies. That's what they're known for, being Optic Gaming. Aggression. In your face. Slaying power. That's what you associate when you hear Optic Gaming's name. And that's what they brought out in the CTF. In some of the other game modes, it seemed like they were a little bit lacking in it. They didn't quite bring the same intensity you might have seen. Having the map break down in front of you, Optic Gaming taking the first one, 250 to 199. A game they didn't actually control as far as kills go, but managed to control the map and the game itself, focusing more on the objective work. compLexity may be a bit guilty of not making the objective their own. Search and Destroy was a very one-sided game, something that compLexity obviously going to be thinking very highly of themselves going into the last map. 11-7 was the uplink, where Optic Gaming took a very strong early lead, but let it slip in the end. And the capture the flag, which was very dominant on the one half for the guys in Optic. A little bit shaky towards the end, but they held their own, held their ground, and now we find ourselves at map 5, Paradox.
Game 5, and looking at this one, we're going to pay a lot of attention towards the middle of the map. We have 2 very important power positions in top broken and the top AC. The ARs will be able to take control of that, especially you think hardpoint, we always see that's one of the first engagements. Search and destroy can come down to that engagement as well if both players decide to go for that push. But a lot of the times we see teams try and attack the B bomb site, sort of push that construction side of the map and take control, get the bomb down, and then they can either set up in green or make sure they maintain control over in construction. On the other side, the A-bomb side, you normally see teams sort of plant that towards the middle of the map so they can have that control set up on a lot of power positions with ARs. So as soon as someone tries to come in and get that defuse, they're spotted and taken out easily.
I mean, going into this search and destroy, I've got to say on both of these teams, compLexity, I'm expecting them to be looking for those first initial frags, try and get one kill, back off. Let Optic stir on that. How do they react? Are they going to react to it? Or are they just going to sit there and think, oh, what are we doing? Because that seemed to be the story in the first search and destroy. compLexity, they made those first initial kills. Then what happened? Optic didn't really have the same kind of answer we might have expected from them. We saw quite a lot of Semtex use as well from compLexity. Do we see Optic ban that out coming into this one? What are your thoughts?
You might have to address it, right? Because in search and destroy, you have one life. You have to make it count. But we always see sort of flak jackets saving lives a lot when it comes to search and destroy. And a lot of players will still have that in the back of their mind because the HCXD will be the first thing taken out in the ban and protect. But going back to what we saw in that game number 2, one thing I really liked from compLexity in one of the opening rounds, they picked up 3 and then immediately rotated the bomb to a site where they had favorability because they had the long lines of sight. They were able to connect, and then in that situation, it was pretty easy for them to get that round in their favor. Moving over to this, that coordination has to be there once again.
And the overkill taken out. And see if there will be some major snipe plays going into this map 5. Didn't see actually too many of them, only Formal really making most use of his sniper rifle on the Redwood Search and Destroy. Swally taking away the heat wave. Seen that quite a bit in this series. I think Heatwave's been banned out every single game so far.
It's been out a lot so far in the series between these two teams, and we know how much of an impact Heatwave can have. It's almost a guaranteed kill in your favor. But now we do see rapid fire off the board as well. After that game number 4, maybe we will see high cal come out from either Karma or Llama to end things, but the flashbang taken off as well. So you think concussion will go off, and one more. It's in the power of compLexity once again. Last time they let high caliber go through.
Let's see what they do here. Optic obviously quite comfortable, and it is taken away. Very smart choice from them. I almost feel like compLexity weren't ready for high caliber to be brought out. A couple of them made some classes, but I think Optic kind of went into that game thinking, right, we're gonna have a Shiva class with high caliber coming out here. We want to make use of that. It's there to be used. Let's use it.
You think if you have that power position, maybe you try and force it out of them a bit earlier, but there are a lot of mind games that end up going on in the ban and protect, and high cal will be the last one out. Now we get to take a look at the specialist draft. Glitch going to be picked up by Parasite. On the other side, Crim6 chooses the active Camel, and Formal going to rock Psychosis.
So it's going to be some very standard specialist picks for search and destroy, and
it's in the power of compLexity.
Can't help but feel we're going to see a lot of action going down in that gold room. Outside the Optic obviously quite comfortable, and it is taken away. A very smart choice for them. I think that's where you can see a lot of compLexity players just sneak into there, try and get a first kill if they can, and then back off. Just hold the ground into that game, get the first pick. That really opens things up for themselves. They feel like, even if the kill's traded out, they feel more comfortable having bodies down on Optic's team rather than having bodies up on theirs, if that makes sense.
I'm interested to see how the overdrive is used from both squads here as well, because you can't push into either bottom broken or bottom research. You think if you're coming from that research side, sort of pushing towards green, if you use the overdrive there, it's going to be very risky, especially with the sniper presence that can be felt on the map. Of course, the overkill is taken out, but you still have a thermal SVG possibly in the hands of one of these players, and with the accurate shots that we see, that can be a very risky play. 50-50, you might be able to get away, but a lot of the times I feel like these players do have the talent to be able to come away with that first blood. But you think active camo can be used for a lot of pushes as well, sort of get information and probably strike first, get that first blood, and then you need to capitalize on that numbers advantage. Make sure you're picking up one, but you're not giving up one or two right there away.
I mean, the fact that the glitch is picked for complexity and not the and the
I'm interested
psychosis
to see
is
how the
picked up by
overdrive is
Optic.
used from
It
both
says a few
squads here
things to
as
me.
well,
It says that
because
maybe
you
Parasite,
can't push any of the
like
broken
glitch is
about
quite a
research,
selfish
you think.
specialist.
Coming
It's
from that
utility. If you
research
get
side,
into a
sort of
sticky
pushing towards
situation, you
green,
could
if you
use
can
it to
see
push
overdrive
out
there,
into open
it's
area,
gonna be very
use it to
risky,
come back,
especially-
and then you've got some intel that might be around the corner. But it's not always foolproof. It's not always going to happen. Whereas psychosis, you could potentially bait someone out with shots. At least you've got an idea where that goes. It's good for retreating purposes as well. It can be used offensively and defensively. But it helps the team. It gives them cover, gives your whole team intel. It's also a situation where you say that, you know, they're probably going to be able to out-trade these situations. Like Optic in Search and Destroy, they're very trade-heavy. They buddy up very well, and they're quite static. They work very methodically. So that's what that kind of specialist change-up says to me. I don't know about you.
I'm gonna have to see, because
You're just saying,
glitch.
you look like I'm just talking absolute rubbish.
No. I understand the point that you're trying to make. I just am very interested to see how glitch is used with Parasite, because we've seen before players sort of go for a peek and retreat, and there's nothing that they see, right? That specialist is absolutely wasted. It's more of like a timing thing when it comes to glitch, knowing when to use it and when to make it count. But now we get to spin game number 5 on Breach between these two teams. I'm really excited.
I mean, especially since, you know, you would probably say glitch. Would you say glitch is probably better on an SMG who's going to be running at the bomb site and is going to be in a situation where it's going to be more valuable? They're purposely putting themselves in aggressive situations where they're going to have to use it to get out. So having Parasite, who's using an M8 here, is it the best use for him?
He's smart enough to really know when to use it, right? So I don't feel like it's a bad pick on that side. It just comes down to the time that you decide to use it. Now look at this. Gonna hop over with the offense. Scump has control of the bomb. He's gonna get it down right away.
Here comes a push, in fact.
Looks like 3 players going to converge on this side for complexity. Scump is almost able to get away. Swirly strikes first blood. Havoc is looking over here as well with the sniper rifle, but look at how aggressive Llama's getting on the map. Was able to pick up one, almost picks up the second, and now we have a 1v1 Havoc versus Karma.
Karma pushing through to gold. He's going to actually turn at the wrong time, and he's gone right back out the back onto the top toilets. Havoc's left in goal by himself. He's just like, okay, hopefully he's going to turn through the doorway. He's going to obviously spot him, comes around the back of him. He turns around, Karma can't get the kill on Havoc, and he picks it up, and he's going to get the defuse for his troubles. I was a bit surprised to see how defensively complexity played that, but how aggressive they were on the retake, and it worked out so beautifully for them. 1-0.
Llama, really important factor there, right? He pushes right past the AC, gets a kill, gets an assist as well. So that really helps complexity that round. And then Havoc had me a little bit scared here. Bounces off of the AC, and then the kill, and has just enough time to get the defuse. Complexity striking first once again in the Search and Destroy.
Okay, so it's Complexity's time on the attack. Leading this last map 1-0. Do they have the bottle? That's an UK term. Means, do they have the cojones, the drive to keep this lead? But it looks like it's falling all too quickly as Havoc actually manages to pick 2 kills up very quickly and make this a doable situation, as he was in a 1v4, turns it down to a 1v2.
Havoc stayed alive on that lower wall run as well, as things got a little bit hairy. But now you think Optic do know where this bomb is at. One goes towards the top AC. Havoc trying to make this one count, picks it up. 1v1, and just like that, you see the setup from Optic Gaming, just buying enough time for Scum to come around, clean up the round, just like game number 2. Both teams answering back right after each other.
Like I said, Optic, Search and Destroy, play a buddy system. They play the trading game very, very well. And they do it just there. What could have been a very nervy situation. I think if Havoc had somehow pulled off that 1v4, that was it. I had to say that was a serious Complexity. But Optic do the smart thing, get the kill in the end, and it's going to be 1-0. Let's see how they do on the attack for the second time.
Karma sends some of his utility towards the middle of the map. Formal ends up going down. Scum comes away with the kill. So now they're going to set up and try and see how they want to attack this bomb site. Crim6 looking to try and pick off Havoc up top. The push getting ready to come in. Lom's going to be right around the corner. Crim6, though, is able to separate and pick up one.
Swally Left out in a bad position. Havoc picked up Crimsix in the end. Here comes Scum, trying to get down Llama. Llama doesn't make it happen. Karma picks up the kill. It's a one-on-one. He has the bomb in his possession. And it looks like Havoc has read this so well, expecting this one to come all the way down to the A bomb site. Which side is Karma going to plant it? No, he's not going to plant it. He's going to go straight through. Havoc's waiting for him. On the other side, one-on-one. Havoc destroys him.
Oh my, Havoc comes up top in that engagement, and perfect play, right? He knows his rotation is going to come in, and as soon as Karma gets here, it gets a little bit scary, and Havoc closes it out with a headshot. Oh my. It's going to be 2-1 in compLexity's favor. Karma started this one out 6-3, but on the other side, Havoc starting out 6-1.
Reading that one like a cheesy novel. Optic find themselves again down 2-1, but Karma has the overdrive available. He's going to use it to push right through middle map. Let's see what he does find out. He's going to find himself just checking around, making sure no one's utilizing the wall run. I'm going to say not the best of uses for overdrive. However, he does have an idea of where everyone is, and just in case someone did push through there, he has got the middle lockdown. Parasite opens up with first blood on Crimsix.
Now Havoc is going to use the sniper rifle to get as much information as possible around the B site. Doesn't see anything, so Llama here. Expect this bomb to go down pretty soon, but one player waiting in the mix for Optic Gaming. This is Formal in bottom green. The push not going to come over towards B. They're going to take control of the middle of the map instead and get this bomb down at the A site. This is the push in the setup that we talked about before the game started. Playing it towards the middle of the map because you have control here. Optic Gaming set to go for the retake.
Karma does spot Parasite on that top AC, gets him tagged up, but doesn't manage to get the kill. The bomb has gone down, and we've also got a man just lying on the bomb, making sure no one pushes it. It is Llama just holding his nerve. He does catch Karma off by surprise. Havoc picks up Scum. Just some unorthodox style from compLexity, I think describes it best.
Forma able to separate and pick up one. So now to 1v2, a doable situation for him here, but time is dwindling down and there's less than 10 seconds left on the board. Smart play for him to fall right off of the map. compLexity now have the 2-round advantage, and you think, whoa, why does he go and fall off the map in that situation? Well, the bomb goes off, compLexity gets more points in their favor, building up closer and closer towards those specialists. That's a lot of utility that Optic Gaming really don't have to want to work with early on in this one. Is this game once again 2 for compLexity. They're up in this one. This is the deciding game 5 between both of these teams. Optic Gaming set on the attack once again. Scum in control of the bomb. The push coming down the middle of the map.
Here comes Optic. Very central push right now. Karma with the M8 in hand. He's got vision on bottom Brokenhams. Crimsix pushes up. And he's just going to check the flank as well. Just looking around himself. What are Optic going to do? Looks like Scum's going to go for the very early plant onto that A bomb site. He's planting it towards the center of the map. Not exactly a situation where you can easily watch it.
So now 2v2 situation. Karma and Formal versus Havoc and Llama. Llama is now up in a 1v2. Spots one up top AC. Just connects with a couple of shots before having to get away. This bomb is down on the A site. Llama's made his presence known.
It looks like he's trying to bait them out with a fake defuse. Here comes a challenge from Scum, and Formal in fact, and he does manage to get the kill. Optic getting around on the board, making this a little bit of a closer affair.
That's a really smart play too, right? He draws out the players, but then you have Karma and Formal there to take you out, and the teamwork absolutely beautiful from them as they get another round in their favor. Looking at this game so far, I want to see how compLexity do going forward. On the side of Optic, they need something to go in their favor on this defensive side. On the side of compLexity, though, they already have the kinetic armor to use.
Wally going to throw both those grenades towards the center of the map. He's probably realized that the player of Optic has decided to use that quite often, as Scum is sitting on the bomb site, and the head-high cover of it is not going to do much for him as he's taken down. Karmas is back with the kill of his own to try and level things up a little bit more. compLexity have good control on this side of the map. Crimsix falls to the slaughter, and the second kill comes down on Crimsix. Amazing RK5 work from Havoc, really putting on a display here in the Search and Destroy.
This is an amazing performance from Havoc. He's 10-2 right now. And he picks up 2 that round with this pistol. One player lands right in front of him, another one he's able to spot and take it out. And it seems like after every game and every round complexity of 1 so far in this best of 5, Havoc is the one really standing up. He's hyped, ready, and it's making it he's showing it on the scoreboard right now.
Smiley's up, activated that overdrive as he pushes through Palace. Anticipating someone to potentially come this way, but looks like compLexity have completely misread this one as Optic have completely flooded the B bomb site. And it looks like compLexity just kind of realizing, oh, I think we misread this one, boys, but they do have 2 rounds to the board if they were to lose this one. Karma not being silly about this situation, peeks for a little bit and backs off. He doesn't need to challenge it. Llama takes up a kill on Scump. He also picks up Crimsic, 4 more answers onto Llama. Swally picks up 4 more. Karma left alive and he goes down. It's 5-2 compLexity. They're 1 round away from creating a massive upset on Optic in the group stages here at the Call of Duty World Championships.
The defuse goes over to Havoc, and just like that, there was a huge 2-piece that comes down in there around 1 round away now for compLexity to take control of this group against Optic Gaming. On the other side, Optic have to win 4 in a row. They had a great play here with Karma sort of watching the flank, but as soon as compLexity, pretty much, it seems like they knew they was spotted, the call-out comes in, they immediately sort of rush the player, isolate them, and even when Optic Gaming sort of rotated back to try and help out Karma ends up being like the last one up. The rest of them were taken out. compLexity do have this game in their favor. I want to hop aboard with Havoc. Amazing performance from him so far. Sniper rifle in his hands as well. He's going to be looking towards the middle of the map. Spots one in the middle box, but Formal able to shut him down early.
Optic fans at home, they need your energy right now to bring this one back. They've got to win 4 consecutive rounds in Search and Destroy on Breach to bring this back, and they've got off to a great start, making it a 4v2 situation. Karma's taking shots in the back. Parasite goes down. It's looking very strong for Optic in this round. Can they keep the momentum up? Like I said, 4 back-to-back rounds need to be won for Optic. They make things start off for them with 1 round. They've got to do 3 more. If you're a Greenwall fan, you've got to do everything you can to support them at home and get them back into this series. If you're a compLexity fan, keep giving them all the strength that you've been doing throughout this entire series and push them over the line to victory.
That's such a strong round from Optic, right? It's the team ace comes in. So now they have momentum going into their attacking round, and looking at this so far, Scump will have the kinetic armor to work with. They're making their way down the middle of the map. Once again, mid control has been very important in this game number 5. We hear the frantic communication from both teams. Trades going down early on. Scump uses the kinetic armor, secures an assist, tries to turn and burn on one, ends up going down. Formal here in the middle of the map, falls. It's all up to Karma in a 1v2. Both of these players are right in front of him, not able to take out either one. He goes down, and compLexity have done it. 6-3. The best of 5 series goes over to them. The green wall falling in their first match here at the Call of Duty World League Championship.
Scenes, absolute scenes. compLexity can't even believe it. Hugs going round. They know how important that win is, not just in the group stage, but as far as seeding goes, if they make it out of the groups into the knockout bracket. That looks absolutely stunning for them. A team that I really don't think they were expecting to come out with that kind of a victory over Optic Gaming so early on, but what a start to their Call of Duty World Championship campaign here in 2016. And they looked very hot.
You think this was the matchup everyone wanted to see in Group H, and compLexity come out on top. Let's recap the maps for you a little bit. Started off with game number 1, 250 to 199 in favor of Optic Gaming, although compLexity looked very strong in the slang department in that one. Redwood Search and Destroy the 6-1 for compLexity. Then the evac uplink goes 11-7. Optic come back very strong on Fringe, pretty much putting that one away in the first half, and then the 6-3 from compLexity to close out the series in that game 5 Search and Destroy.
It's been a great showing of Call of Duty today. I mean, there's been some amazing games. It's everything we expected from a first day here at the Call of Duty World Championships, and I think we've just summed up a great first day between Optic and compLexity. How do Optic fight back going into tomorrow's games? And obviously, they've really got to make sure they make their games against Panda and LDS, LC count, and they really will be hoping to themselves that one of those two teams can actually do them a favor, maybe take down compLexity and make the group still very much up for grabs. They want that illustrious first seed going into it. It makes your games in the bracket so much, well, I say easier. You'll be coming up against the lower seed teams, which usually means you're coming up against easier opponents.
So that will do it for this series. We're going to go away for a little bit, but we'll be right back. You know, some great Call of Duty action still going down at the Call of Duty World League Championships presented by PlayStation 4.